Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Anna from Astraladytarot. Today I want to talk to you casually about the fact that you reserve the right to change your opinion at any given time. And just a little tip to remind you, I have a lot of things to say about this entire topic. I'm talking about many different things, so make sure to stick around to the end so that you can let me know how you feel about all of this. Let's get into it. So you reserve the right to change your opinion, change your mind at any given time after being provided with new information. Usually that's when that happens, right? Now, this may be a topic that I think the topic is timeless, but I have a feeling that people need to hear that, at least in my immediate surroundings, I feel, because I've been having conversations lately with friends who kind of I feel like an important factor in this question of, being comfortable with changing your mind or changing the side you're on, if you're on a side at all, um, on really anything that is a daily life that affects you directly or not, or things that have to do with your upbringing, really any topic that you can think about. I feel like an important factor really comes a lot from social media as well. And, me doing these videos for over a year now, and expressing my opinion on some things from time to time, things that I really find important, things that affect our lives. So I'm not saying that I have this all figured out. I just want to kind of like open up the conversation and share this with people who may need to hear this at this point in time. Now, I feel that this is not only a younger people problem. I think this affects us all. Maybe even this pressure, which more often than not, have to be honest, comes from being outspoken, being on social media, having your opinion really out there in the world. I really think that this right affects us all, and we're not all aware of this right to change your mind and what it truly means. Because I kind of feel like, again, with these conversations that I've been having, people are kind of afraid to be perceived as unreliable, or to be perceived as someone who cannot make up their minds, or to be perceived as someone who cannot make a decision, or cannot, doesn't stay true to their word. Except that what's more true than changing your opinion on something that really matters, that's really important, that affects you directly or other people, something that you're passionate about, or something that's just about human rights, really. Change your opinion about that after having been provided with new information that then change your mind. It's not, you are not your opinion, we are not our opinion, we are not our thoughts. Um, we are rather what we do, but still, I feel like there is a core thing that is lost here in this whole mess of being perceived by other people, by others from the outside. I feel like it's getting lost in this whole having to be outspoken, which, I do support that. It's important to have an opinion. It's important to be informed. But there are so many ways of getting that, of getting there, of getting the information that you are looking for. I think it's easy to really kind of get lost. I don't want to get into the whole media portrayal thing, but I do want to go back to the kind of human nature, really, that I'm talking about. Because I feel like people have the misconception that what their opinion is, and how they portray themselves to the outside world, is who they are in the core. And I think this whole channel being about spirituality, and we're having fun and all of that, but hopefully also talking about more important stuff. I get that this video might be very vague and I'm not sure if I'm gonna upload it, we'll see. But there's something there that I think, a lot of people are missing then, because you are not your thoughts, you are not your opinion. You are yourself, what is inside of you, or rather what you do, right? And then your thoughts and opinions and what you say and what you stand for are really allowed to change, because the information that is provided to you also probably changes at some point. It's very unrealistic to believe the first thing you hear coming from only one source. I always believe in branching out a little bit and getting the information from different sources, from different standpoints. Just look at this whole history thing that we've been through in 2020. Now, that is, of course, a generalization, but the history books are written by the conquerors, right? So that's mistake number one. We're supposed to know both sides in order to know what we believe and what we stand for, and therefore can be vocal about it if we feel necessary, if we feel that's necessary. Now, even there is always that strength, or I'd like to say human right, to change your opinion, because honestly, that is more true to you, more true to yourself than trying so hard to stick to your beliefs, because that is the first information that you got from this one source. Also think of the motives of that information provider. Now, obviously, I'm not giving any examples as to topics that you can change your opinion on, but just this overall, I don't know, thing that's been happening, thing that I have seen happening around me. Like my friends, they are often afraid to change their minds. And again, I don't want to go into the whole media or social media thing too much, but I feel like that is often one of the first reasons that they give, one of the first reasons that really comes to mind, that they can think of. They kind of go like, well, what about all this stuff that I've posted about this topic? And now all of a sudden I'm supposed to change my mind and be on the other side? Well, no, not really. But first of all, also, where does that fear come from, right? Because it's fear of being judged, fear of being unreliable, fear of not being true to yourself. Also, not just fear from other people about you, but also this fear of, who am I then if I don't believe in this anymore? Well, first believe in yourself, okay? Cheesiest advice that I can give, but first believe in yourself. And, you know, if something is truly important to you, get informed. That's the easiest thing, obviously. Actually, that's not really true. It's not really easy. You kind of have to dig sometimes, but it's easy to get confused. And I think that that is what this information age is really, it tends to take advantage of human beings by having this oversaturation of information, of way, way, way too much information, so that we cannot keep up, and we just, our brain kind of shuts down and believes and sticks to the very first thing that we hear. I'm talking about just, this probably happens to every one of us from time to time, right? Now, I have changed my opinion on quite a few things. Now, I'm not posting this video to defend myself or preach or point fingers, as I said, but I just want to remind you watching that, especially on bigger picture matters, when it's not just about you, when we're talking about things that affect portions of society or really everyone, we should learn to accept ourselves having any opinion, you know what I mean? In any stage of the gathering of information process, because that's really what it is. Yeah, because that's really what an opinion is, nothing more. It's just gathering information and deciding what aligns with your personal value. So how do you get to this personal value? How do you get to this um, opinion within? Is to understand different points of view so that you can finally make your own. Now, I'm usually not very black and white. I'm usually kind of in a gray area. So sometimes it's more of a dark gray, sometimes it's more of a light gray, whatever metaphor we're using here. But you know what I mean? I feel like um, by at least asking questions, question everything, every information that you get, there is a bigger chance that you will be able to find your place within all of that chaos, within all of that extreme amount of information. Take a shot every time I say information in this video. I'm not saying change your opinion all the time at the drop of a hat, of course, but I'm saying that at least try to make informed decisions. The reaction I most often get from my friends is, yeah, but what about the fact that you stood on a certain side of an argument and all of a sudden you change your mind? That's strange, and what will people think? Now, I believe a large majority of this thought goes towards what we share on the online sphere, and again, the whole what would people think. Now, I want to put this out there. Don't be afraid to share your kind of transition to at least a more nuanced view on an important matter, on anything, when getting into a new discussion with a friend or with anyone really. And the thing to note here is you are not your opinion, you are not your thoughts. Just like the person on the other side of the argument is not their opinion. So we're talking about fears, right? How we are being perceived, and we're afraid of lying to ourselves or appearing unreliable. Now, if anything, having the ability to, or learning to do this, of putting aside your ego and having the strength and courage to accept another perspective, that is what staying true to yourself means, I feel. Staying true to yourself, not lying to yourself, means it's not about what people think, it shouldn't be about ego, and it should be about what you believe is the right thing to do. If anything, sticking to your initial stance after having been provided with information that basically proves this opinion no longer true to you, and ignoring important facts while doing that, is lying to yourself. You know what I mean? And by extent, you're then lying to everyone around you. And I think that is pretty unreliable. So I get it, we don't want to be wrong. We don't like admitting fault. But it's not about that, is it? Sometimes, maybe even most of the time, because of the way the world works, what information is readily available, or rather even pushed down our throats sometimes, and what voices are never being heard, or what information is not supposed to reach us. I don't want to be all conspiracy theory here, but must say I do find those quite amusing and sometimes also informative, must admit. Yeah. Anyway, sometimes we find out that we really should learn to let go of that ego that desperately wants us to be right, and instead be open to different views, meaning getting a broader perspective and at least a more nuanced stance. Again, I think nuance is the most personal thing to you. At least a little nuanced. Especially looking at the bigger things, like the way countries are being ruled, societal norms, governments, the whole big picture that affects all of us. And we're supposed to believe what we think we are worth, what rules to follow, basically no longer being burdened with forming our own thoughts almost. But even without the whole political issues thing or human rights, I think we have a lot to learn when it comes to what it truly means to stick to your values and staying true to yourself. And I'm not, again, pointing fingers. I'm not saying that I have everything figured out, not at all. But one last time, You have the right to change your opinion at any given time. And I would love to see more people coming to terms with this, really, in themselves. So that's something to consider in any argument. Question everything. Okay, so I am adding this clip because I am talking about many, many things in this video, and I feel that I need a little bit more explanation time, so thanks for sticking around. Basically, to better translate these thoughts to you. Now, informed decision. Was I talking about informed decisions? I think I was at some point talking about informed decisions. So sure, informed decisions. But when it comes to gathering facts, and yes, I'm using air quotes, I think the best way to do that is to see what the other side has to say as well, or go look for alternative solutions to a problem. Now, when you do that, look for alternative solutions to a problem, you're very likely to find actually the core of that issue, of that problem, which probably results then also in you changing your mind about the whole thing. And look within from your own authentic position and opinion. So, authenticity. We hear that word a lot, right? Authenticity is what resonates, and it's about being open to change, really. That makes more sense to me. Resonating, authenticity, well, it's actually being open to change. Now, this may be very chaos magic of me, I don't know, but I think it's a very freeing idea to realize that we change every single day. It's a very freeing idea to realize that, isn't it? We are fluent because everything is. And the real trap here is to consider ourselves a finished product, you could say, because we then become stagnant, which we don't want. We become fixed in this position, like fixed stones in a universe that is still actually always constantly very much moving and changing and expanding and growing, because change is the only way to grow, right? And we want to expand. We don't want to reduce or minimize. So, of course, any new information that reaches you is allowed to have an effect on you about how you feel about a situation. I clearly encourage that, but actually, the gathering facts thing is very flawed, because it's most often a much better idea to focus on what you think and feel is to do the right thing, not to be right. There's a difference there. And to have that more human, instinctive approach or perspective. And at the end of the day, you are the one who makes up your own mind. You make up your own mind. And I get it, we don't want to be wrong, we don't want to make mistakes, but we cannot possibly be right all the time either. Making mistakes, if these things even are mistakes, right? Because your opinion is just based on where you are on that specific moment of forming it, like where you are mentally, for instance. And as I said, the gathering of information process. So I don't think we should focus all too much about being wrong or making mistakes along the way, because if we agree that it's a process, then it's just about growing and changing and being fluid. The real prison is when we think we have it all figured out, and nothing can possibly make your self-made stone prison of your beliefs collapse into the water and become fluid again. Just look at the Tower card. That, I think, is a very important thing, a very important lesson that this specific moment in the tarot brings. Now, the last thing that I want to address is that I quickly said something about conspiracy theories. Now, that term is there's a lot of fear that goes along with it, right? Because it's also very much mocked, and very much, many of them are wrong or based on nothing. But also, I think conspiracy theories, for a lot of conspiracy theories, that term is now wrong, because it turns out that that theory was actually very much true, turned out very much to be true. So then I think, what do we call that then, So again, it's just about being in that more nuanced gray area that is the most honest, I think. So trying to escape the manipulation that is happening on a daily basis all the time, you know? So I think maybe that is a separate topic, but I just hope I clarified some things a little bit with this, you know, stream of thoughts, so of ideas. So let me know what you think of all of this. Let me know if you recognize yourself in what I've said, you know, talking about my friends, but also actually really also talking about me in different stages of, you know, different processes, really. So I'd love to hear if maybe I change your mind about something, or yeah, really anything. I'd love to hear that. And this might be a little bit of a strange video for my channel, but still I was able to link it to a card. You see, it just happened. And I feel that it's very much a tower moment, but this is really about that destruction that is necessary for us to be open and grow, and then move through the waters to the new shore where we can actually build up something that is more true to ourselves in the star card. All right, so yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for being here, and please, yeah, leave your comment below because I'd really love to hear from you. Thanks so much.